1. Define the term agriculture. Agriculture is purposeful cultivation of crops and rearing of animals for food or for commercial purposes. It is the practice of cultivating crops and rearing of livestock. 2. What is mixed farming? It is a type of farming involving the growth of crops and rearing of livestock on the same piece of land farm on rotational basis. 3. Name 3 main types of agriculture. Arable, crop farming, subsistence or commercial crop farming, livestock farming, dairy or beef farming, mixed farming, crops and livestock farming. IV state 4 ways in which drought affects the agricultural sector in Kenya. Leads to shortage, lack of moisture, leads to crop failure, leads to shortage, lack of water for livestock and irrigation, leads to shortage of raw materials for agro-based industries, leads to reduction in export of agricultural commodities, reduction in farmers' income. V state 3 economic factors that influence agriculture. Operational costs of growing crops and rearing of livestock, marketing expenditure of the products of the market, price actualizations of agricultural commodities, government policies through subsidies and guarantee prices to the farmers. Explain the social factors that influence agriculture. Gender influences productivity as the produce will depend on effort of the gender involved. Some religious beliefs determine the type of livestock farming since they discourage rearing of certain animals. The culture of people determines the type of crops grown, livestock kept in order to meet their dietary needs. Land tenure system allows limits individual communities to use the available land, thus decreasing produce. The interaction between people leads to adoption of new techniques in farming, new food and crops. VI name 2 crops grown in the plantations in the highlands east of the Rift Valley in Kenya. 75. Tea, coffee, rice, barley, wheat, flowers, pineapples. X state the characteristics of plantation agriculture. The holdings farms are large-scale, 40 hectares and above. Ownership is by individuals, groups. The produce is for commercial purposes. Some farms are labor-intensive. It requires large capital outlay to establish. It uses heavy machinery. Farms are highly mechanized. There is high yield per unit area. The farms are scientifically managed. One type of crop is grown at a time. Monoculture. What is sedentary farming? It is the cultivation of crops and the rearing of livestock for subsistence or for commercial reasons where people have permanent settlements. TEA. 1. Name 3 main tea growing areas found in the eastern Kenya highlands. Nyambene Hills, Nyeri, Thika, Embu, Murang'a, Kiambu, Kirinyaga, Maragua. 2. Name 2 districts to the west of the Rift Valley where tea is grown on a large scale. kcse, Nandi, Vihiga, Trans-Nzoia, Kakamega. 3. Name 2 countries in the world that are leading importers of Kenyan tea. U.S.A. Italy, Canada, Egypt, Netherlands, United Kingdom. B. Outline 3 human factors that favor tea growing in the Nandi Hills area of Kenya. Good road network to the factories and to the market. Tea factories are located near tea plantations to avoid high cost of transportation. Availability of capital to pay the labor force, i.e. for land preparation, planting, weeding and picking. Adequate labor to pick the tea as well as weed and add mature. C state 5 physical conditions that favor tea growing in Kenya. Cool, warm climatic conditions 100 C to 280 C throughout the year. High annual rainfall 1,000–2,000 millimeters per year, well distributed throughout the year. Areas that are frost-free throughout the year. Deep well-drained volcanic soils. Moderate to high temperature, average temperature of 210 C. 76. Slightly acidic soils, pH 4 to 6. Gently sloping undulating land 1,500 minutes to 2,400 minutes above sea level. High altitude. Plenty of shade, wind breaks to protect tea bushes from strong damaging winds. High altitude 1,000 minutes, 2,300 minutes above sea level. 2. Describe the stages involved in the cultivation of tea from cultivation to transportation to the factory. The land is cleared of vegetation. The land is plowed, tilled. Seedlings are planted in a nursery and allowed to grow 20 to 30 centimeters. The seedlings are transplanted onto the cleared land at the beginning of the rain season. The seedlings are planted in rows which are about 1.5 meter apart. The plants are weeded and manure mulching applied regularly. Once the bushes start growing, the tips of their branches are pruned regularly to encourage the plant to form more branches. After 2 to 4 years, the crop is ready for harvesting. The crop is harvested every 2 weeks once it attains maturity. After harvesting, the green leaves are transported to the collecting center and eventually to the factory for processing. To describe tea cultivation from land preparation to harvesting. The land where the cuttings will be planted is cleared. All couch grasses are removed at this time because removing them when cuttings have been planted becomes difficult. At 20 centimeters in height, the cuttings are ready for transplanting. Holes 40 centimeter deep and 25 centimeter wide are dug at about 0.7 to 0.9 meter interval in between a row of 1.5 meter apart. Transplanting is done at the onset of long rain season. Fertilizers such as double superphosphates are added. Once the bushes start growing, formative pruning is done to allow formation of many branches. The short are then allowed growing for 3 months, after which tipping pruning is done till the plant attains a height of between 1.2 minutes to 1.5 m. After 2 years, tea is harvested. Harvesting is done by plucking 2 leaves and a bud at the tip of each shoot. 3. I name the main diseases that affect tea. Armillaria root rot. 2. How can armillaria root rot be controlled? Uprooting, destroying, burning the affected bushes. Removing the tree stumps and pieces of wood which are reservoirs for the virus. 77. 3. List down 2 varieties of tea. Assam variety, Chinese variety. 4. The map below shows some major tea growing areas in Kenya. I name the areas marked W-KAPENGURIE/Kitale/Sheriangani/MT Elgin. X Kericho Kijina Mirabo Met Gachel Bure. Y Meru Embu Nairi Kirinyago MT. Kenya region Nyambin. 2. Name 2 districts in eastern province of Kenya where tea is grown. Embu, Meru.